let's say, hypothetically, for the sake of the argument, let's say that you've never heard of Lord of the Rings Online before. And honest to God, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. But for the sake of this video's prompt, let's pretend that you are. Now, you happen to stumble upon these two videos created by a relatively mild-mannered guy who seems to know what he's talking about. But he uses a lot of words and vocabulary that you're not quite familiar with, such as might, fate, vitality, morale, and like wrath. You're intrigued and decide to make an account and download the game to see what's going on. You choose a class and race combo that was, I don't know, maybe it was recommended, maybe it wasn't, from those videos, and you hop into Middle-earth. You enter the game, you get through the tutorial where you run, jump, fight, I mean kind of, and you're presented with the introduction. Now, if it were me, I would start clicking stuff and seeing what was linked to what in that, and in that process, I would press C, opening this panel right here. Unknowingly, opening this panel has the key to all your questions from before and so much more information than you could possibly dream of. So today in this video, I'm going to go through just that. I'm going to go through all the information provided on the character panel and show what each of the other buttons on the bottom of the panel do. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can hit our goal of 420 subscribers. You know, the funny number, yeah. And with all that, let's begin. All right, folks, we are in the field. Let's open this panel. We can zoom in on this panel. That would be very nice, Mr. Editor Man. All right, as you can see, there's a lot to this, and I want to just say, first of all, always click this. Always have this checked. The show all stats, you know, there's so much more information that you don't get if you don't have this equipped here. So, what does all this mean? All right, we're just going to go through each of these one by one. And I will explain as we go. So, first and foremost, morale and power. Morale is basically the amount of health that you have. If your morale reaches 0, you die. Is essentially the thought. Power is like mana in other MMOs. Power is like the amount of times that you can use an attack, right? Every skill in my skill bar, it costs some sort of power. A lot of them only cost like 1 power because I'm just kind of goated with the sauce like that, honestly. TBH. Armor, it reduces the damage that you take from attacks. So any sort of armor piece, like your helmets, your chest plate, your leggings, your boots, your cloak, your shield, if your character uses a shield, mine uses a shield, and sometimes even jewelry can provide an armor bonus. I don't have any on me, but I know that is a thing. So now when we get into these five things right here, it's important to stop and read these, right? They're very, very important, and not every class will find the same stats valuable, right? So I find might very valuable, and I think they did get rid of it. It used to say, like, if you were playing like a cappy, right, like a captain, right, it would say, as a captain, might is very important for you, right? But I don't think it says that much anymore. Nowadays, I think it's like, it's Bjornings, it's captains, it's guardians, champions, sometimes wardens need might. Hunters, mariners, burglars, wardens definitely need agility, and then your squishy classes need will. Everybody needs vitality, obviously. You know, vitality increases your health and your morale regen, which is very nice. And fate is kind of less important than it has been in the past. Fate isn't as important, but it increases your max power and out of combat power regen. Might will generally increase your physical traits, like your physical mastery rating, your physical mitigation, your block, parry, crit rating, stuff like that. Agility will kind of do a similar thing. but it'll be way better for agility based classes. And then will, if you're playing a class with heavy armor, increases your tactical mitigation, which is actually very useful. But also it will increase your tactical mastery rating and resistance rating and finesse rating for your squishy classes. So very important that you read these and know where your might is going, where your vitality is going, right? But yeah, let's move on. All right, here's the good stuff, folks. Here's the good stuff. Critical rating, right? The more you increase your critical rating, the more often you get a critical hit. Right now mine is at, 12.8%. That's pretty cool. Good for me, I guess. Finesse reduces your opponent's resistance, and it reduces your opponent's ability to block, parry, and evade. Sometimes this is good, sometimes it isn't. I know in some endgame metas it is like very important, and sometimes it's not. This will often come as you get more of the trait you're looking for. And then physical mastery, it increases your melee damage and range damage dealt by you. And as you can see, mine is at 160%. And I think in most times the maximum you can get is about 200. You can get about 200% physical mastery rating. And same with tactical mastery rating. Well, and then in terms of defense, we got Light of Erendiel, which that doesn't really apply to anything until you hit level 105. Resistance rating provides a chance of avoiding all effects, right? Any debuffs you can just shake off if your resistance rating is high. Critical defense, it reduces critical hit damage done by your enemy to you. Very nice, very nice. Again, this is something that usually comes with investing in, like, I don't know, if you're a shield, if you got a shield, like it will always have some sort of critical defense on it. And then incoming healing, it just increases the amount of morale that you get. That's another thing that kind of it more so applies to like tanky classes. So moving on to avoidance, we have these three right here. Block chance, your block chance, you can only increase this if you have a shield on you. So I have a shield on me, and I can. If I were to unequip it, I would still have a block chance. Yeah. It's the likelihood that you're gonna block an attack. The higher that this is, the better off you'll be. Parry, it's the same thing. The higher parry rating you have, the more likely you are to parry an attack. And then evade, it's same concept, except you're just outright dodging an attack. The mitigations are very important. This is what your stats will be feeding into a lot of the time. Like as you can see here, I have 236 might, and 236 of those points will go towards my physical and my tactical mitigation. This is very helpful because it'll just straight up decrease the amount of damage that I have. And obviously physical is for like physical attacks, so if your enemy uses like a sword or just, I don't know, beats the shit out of you or something, it'll lessen the amount of damage there. And then tactical mitigation is very much important, especially for tanks. You tanks are always looking for tactical mitigation. Tactical attacks, as you can see, fire, lightning, frost, acid, and shadow. Those are the 5 kinds of tactical damage that can be done against you. And a lot of bosses will have effects, especially in some raids. Okay, so that's all the stats. Again, always have this checked so that you can see your stats. And yeah, let's go on. You have a slot for your helmet, shoulder guards, a cloak, a chest plate, gloves, pants, and boots, right? Those are the 7 types of armor. And then on the other side, you have 2 earring slots, a necklace slot, 2 bracelet slots, 2 ring slots, and a pocket item slot. Right, so that make 8 slots right there. And then on the bottom here, you have a primary weapon slot, a secondary weapon slot or a shield slot, a ranged weapon slot, a crafting item slot, and a class item slot, right? And then finally, this slot is your essence slot. I have an essence, but I don't have any items that need essences, so it can also be used for legendary items, but obviously the level cap on this server is 50, and I can't get one yet. So, okay, let's move on. So obviously, on the top here, you have your level, you have your name, you have your class. If you can hover over it and you can be like, oh, I'm a Stout X captain. That's awesome. Good for me. If you click this panel right here, it will open your titles, right? And additionally, it will open down here as well. I have, a lot of titles. Doing deeds actually gets you titles like Slayer deeds. Slayer deeds are good. Explorer deeds are good. If you go a certain amount of levels without dying, you get some deeds. Right, like Challenger of Thorog. Do some reputation, right? Like I'm a warden of Numinous because I'm kindred with the wardens of Numinous, and we'll figure out how to do that in just a second. Yeah. Any sort of deeds you can do is very good. And then also up here are your cosmetic outfits, right? And so cosmetics, right, you can put anything in the armor slots and the weapon slots. It's very fun. I very much enjoy pimping my characters out, as you've seen. Maybe you've seen my my playthrough here on YouTube. You've seen me pimp out my character. It's a little harder on a legendary server because I have less marks and I have less resources to work with, but I mean, I don't really care that much. And besides, there's the farmers fair is happening anyways, so I'll be fine. Yeah, it's a good way to play dress up. I think you get 2 outfit slots, and then you have to buy more outfit slots for Lotro points. I don't think it's very expensive, actually. I'm actually gonna take a quick peek here. $4.95. So it's not cheap by any means, but again, cosmetic slots, especially for new players, if you want to play dress up, be my guest. If you want to pump money into the economy, be my guest. I'm not gonna encourage that. I'm not gonna encourage it. But yeah, let's move on. So these buttons down here, we've already explored the title button, but let's just go through and see what we can accomplish here. So by pressing your skills tab, you can see all the skills that you have, right? Whether that be like and they come in like different categories, right? So like bolster the weekend is like, this is like all my healing skills, some buffs, right? Call to arms is all the captains like heralds and stuff, right? Like that. Common skills, that's just like tracking ores, tracking wood. That's pretty nice. Cosmetic pets, those are pretty fun. I got a parrot. That's pretty sick. Direct your allies. That's and so on. Like these will be different for every class and every race, right? Like racials. I've got a couple of racial skills. I've got a travel skill, like travel to Thorn's Hall, stuff like that, right? Passive skills. Those are your active skills, by the way. Passive skills is just like every attribute about your character that you can pretty much anything and everything under the sun. Like what kind of armor you're able to use, what kind of like your your racial passive skills, combat characteristics, crafting skills, discounts, what instruments you're allowed to play, which is actually kind of fun. Keys are, I mean, they're particularly pertinent in the early game, like up to level 50 for some instances, but yeah. And then just miscellaneous skills, and then some the weapons that you're allowed to use. Oh wait, fellowship skills, these are just like the red, yellow, red, the green, yellow, red, blue skills. When you break the defenses of an enemy, you can do some different big attacks with that. 2 of each, right? 2 of each will get you stuff. 3 of each will do more damage, and then 4 of each will do even more damage, right? And there are more that you can do, but I just haven't done a whole lot. I haven't done a whole lot of them, and so obviously this panel is a little incomplete. And then mounts, right? Any horse that you've gotten, these are all like promotion. Well, not promotional, but like, I don't know. This is one that you get for playing for several years. This is from pre-ordering Helm's Deep, I think. These are from pre-ordering Umbar. This is something that you can buy account wide, and then this is from the Mirkwood Patrons coffer. And then if we look, we can see our biography. After that, you can change your personal description, so when people inspect you, you can flesh out your character's biography. You can be like, I am the coolest captain who ever lived, and that is a known fact. You know what I mean? You can be a parent, and you can have children. I've not really messed around with this ever, so you please forgive me. I've not ever had to need to mess with the biography panel before. After that, you got your wallet, right? Your wallet shows you basically every barter item that isn't in your bag. But yeah, you can do any sort of, it'll sort itself out, right? I didn't have to do any of this. I didn't have to sort any of this out. You can if you participate in a festival, any quest in a festival, you get tokens, figments of splendor and stuff. So that's your wallet. And then if we look in the second row, you got your house. I don't own a house, but usually this is filled up. A hobby, I don't have a hobby either. Your reputation, as I was talking about before. This is to show you where you're at in terms of reputation. You want to get to kindred, but you can be neutral, acquaintance, friend, and ally before that. Some of these are a little weird, like the Path of Valor or Amelia's Studies. Some of these are a little weird, but some of them a lot of them are straightforward. And then finally the war. This is for PvP, PvMP, and it just shows you all your stats, how many kills you got, how many deaths, your KDR, stuff like that. I obviously don't have anything on this because PvMP is deactivated in the server, so it is what it is. But yeah, that is the character panel. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to answer anything. I will admit it was a mouthful. There was a lot of weird numbers and stuff going on here, but at the end of the day, it's just look what's important for you, right? Like, obviously might is a lot more important to me as a heavy armor class than agility, stuff like that. And yeah, so I will see you guys later.